Thank you for watching NMH at 1, where we highlight the news making headlines in the land of the brave and beyond, ranging from current affairs, community stories, sports, and economic news. In the news today, lawyer in court over drunken driving and bribery charges, more calls to address unjust home repossessions. Namibia is not building enough power stations. I am Glenora Shipura, and this is NMH at 1. In our midday news update, the 10th Africa Teaching and Learning Conference hosted by the African Federation of Teaching Regulatory Authorities and the Namibia National Teachers Union, NANTU, has kicked off this morning at the Mercure Hotel, formerly known as Safari Hotel in Windhoek. This will be a 3-day event ending on Friday. Various delegates from across SADC are in attendance. Remember to engage with these stories on our social media throughout the broadcast. Visual news coming up after the break.
Welcome to Active Kids, a daily TV show that sparks creativity, learning, and fun for young minds. With exciting activities and lessons, Active Kids inspires curiosity and a love for learning.
New face to the
15. The perfect mix of play and education. Don't miss out on the fun. Tune into Active Kids on NTV every weekday at 10 o'clock and let the adventure begin.
Let's take a look at our visual news. Neville Andre, Governor of Erongo Region, in collaboration with the Erongo Regional Council, conducted the first of 7 town hall meeting sessions in Swakopmund today. This is with the main purpose of giving feedback to the community on government, regional and local government activities, and to listen to communities on how they can improve service delivery in the Erongo region. We are not here to blame each other, but to find solutions to the problems we are facing in our respective communities and towns, said Andre. The governor will be visiting all the towns in the Erongo region during the months of May 2023 and June 2023.
Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we have not had any town hall meetings, and we are very happy that we are back to this engagement where we engage with the community and hear from the community. We are gathered here this afternoon with the sole purpose, that is to extend our democratic practices and accountability on service delivery in Swakopmund. Of course, as you all know, effective governance is a critical component for social economy, development and social cohesion. We need to engage one another, to hear from one another, to sit, so that we all know that what the journey or the focus that the leaders are taking, it is also followed by the communities, and not the leadership moving in one direction and they are leaving the communities on the other. I really appreciate your coming here, making time to come and engage and talk to your leaders. Be rest assured that we are not only going to speak English, we also arrange translations afterwards. But if you want to express yourself in your language, please do so. Don't be afraid of talking. Whatever issue you have, whatever issue you want to bring to your leaders, you can express that in your language. I also want, because this is a community meeting from government, to speak and hear to the community members. I want to ask those that are heads of different government offices in Swakopmund just to stand up. I see youth is here, health is here, please stand up. We will be going to all the different constituencies in the Erongo region, and we are lucky, or you are lucky, to be the first to start, because perhaps you are the host of the government in the region, and you get to benefit to be the first to address it. But also, with this engagement, in order to also strengthen the relationship and engagement between our offices and that of the community, we will be having a suggestion box from my office at all offices of government. So even after this engagement, you can still engage us through suggestion box, where at every month I will be looking at and reading the questions that are coming from yourself, and then have to respond to those issues as fast as we can on the data that we have, that we can respond to. So, and this is basically just to assure that if you have other issues perhaps that will come up after today, you still have the opportunity to write and submit to the different suggestion box. It will be at the constituency councillor's office, and please feel free to submit it there.
World Bank study says no to NEEF. An update on this story follows in the newspaper review segment after the break.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
We now look at what the lead stories are in Namibia's daily newspapers, starting off with the Namibian Sun's front page, which reports that a study commissioned by the World Bank has concluded that there is no need for the National Equitable Economic Empowerment Bill set to be introduced at a time when value addition and local empowerment is pushed in Namibia's green hydrogen and oil and gas industry. The idea behind NEEF was to ensure a balanced redistribution of wealth and resources in the country. The emotive proposed law originally sought to compel investors to sell at least 24% ownership, or as otherwise determined by the Minister of Trade, to previously disadvantaged Namibians. Government has since shelved its hardline stance, but investors remain unsure of setting up shop in Namibia until there is absolute certainty about what the law would look like. On page 3, the Health Ministry last week announced that Namibia is one of 12 countries selected for the implementation of the first phase of an emergency preparedness response flagship initiative through the World Health Organization. To kickstart the program, valued at $51.1 million Namibian dollars, the WHO donated 8 Toyota Land Cruisers and a well-equipped ambulance. The organization also donated equipment for the establishment of a digital learning platform and learning network for public health emergency workforce development in Namibia to the tune of about 110,000 Namibian dollars. During his address, WHO Country Representative Charles Moses affirmed that Namibia was one of the first countries selected for the rollout of this initiative. Now, Republican informs the Minister of Mines and Energy, Tom Alwindo, has suspended the controversial Chinese lithium miner Zinfeng Investments mining license. Now, Zinfeng is believed to be closing all its operations outside Omaruru by the 31st of May. The ministry spokesperson Ten Hashila yesterday did not confirm nor deny, but says the ministry is expected to call a media conference today to disclose details. Meanwhile, Zinfeng's lawyer Nambili Mahata says the plan to challenge validity of the suspension of the license in court. Now, on page 3, Namibia is not making significant progress to develop its own power stations to enable it to provide electricity domestically should the power generation in the Southern Africa power pool become precarious, the Institute of Public Policy and Research says. This comes on the back of electricity supply woes currently experienced in South Africa, on which Namibia relies for much of its electricity, as well as reduced rainfall in the Kunene River catchment over a 10-year period, it said. Now, the Ruacana power station recorded the lowest energy generated for the past 10 years, which is 780 gigawatt hours due to the reduced rainfall in the Kunene River catchment area. This resulted in Nampower having to import electricity at a high cost to ensure constant supply. Nampower identifies climate change as a key risk, the IPPR said. Allgemeine Zeitung in today's edition is opening with North America. Reckon Africa continues to face the threat of a class action lawsuit over dubious bond papers trading. In Namibia, meanwhile, civil society organizations are demanding that Namcor, the state-owned company, refrain from reimbursing its legal costs incurred as a result of an application by stakeholders from the Kavango. On its page 3, the Allgemeine Zeitung reports that Alexander Krylov and Anna Engelbrecht now want to appeal their convictions for rape and child trafficking. They accuse the court of creating facts and claim to be legal laymen. In February this year, Judge Claudia Claassen found Krylov and Engelbrecht guilty of rape and child trafficking and sentenced them to 35 and 20 years in prison, respectively. We'll be back with more newspaper review after the break.
To another exciting episode of Irongo Talk.
Jou is die weer en vertel ook vir julle waar die vis heel moontlik gaan byt.
We continue with our newspaper review. The Namibian newspaper reports that more groups have come forward to challenge the unjust and criminal liability of commercial banks in repossessions of homes from struggling homeowners. This comes in the wake of a letter sent to the Bank of Namibia by Metcalfe Beeker's attorneys, acting on behalf of numerous home loan holders who have been defaulted on their loans. In an earlier communication with the Namibian, the Deputy Sheriff of Windhoek, Manfred Hennis, said on a weekly basis about 10 houses are listed for attachment, of which between 1 and 3 are sold. On page 3, a Windhoek-based lawyer appeared in court as an accused person yesterday following his arrest over the weekend for allegedly driving a car while under the influence of liquor. The lawyer Henry Shimwatukweni appeared before Magistrate Kandibwapa Nemia on the Windhoek Magistrates Court on charges of driving under the influence of intoxicating liquor, failing to provide a breath or blood specimen, and bribery. His case was postponed to the 24th of July for further investigations to be carried out after public prosecutor Sylvia Kaluma told the magistrate that the police still need to record 3 witnesses' statements in the matter. On New Era, the lack of monitoring of mining activities and mines in the Dowres constituency has resulted in the mushrooming of illegal activities at the expense of the local community. This is according to the Dowres constituency councillor Kennedy Hosep, who yesterday said his office does not know exactly how many mines are operating in his constituency, as they are not privy to such information. His office is also not informed by the Mines Ministry of any activities. On page 3, legal trouble seems to land murder-accused Harvey Bolter everywhere he goes, as a group of Emirates claim he defrauded them out of more than 56.9 million Namibian dollars. The group, which comprises of Ahmad Mohamed Abdul Aziz Al Atman, Abdul Ilah Mohamed Abdul Aziz, Badra Mohamed Abdul Aziz Al Otman, Badriya Salah Abdullah Al Madini Mohamed Abdullah Mohamed Al Hamdini, and their company Tabrak Trading and Contracting LCC, want the Namibian courts to compel Bolter to adhere to the court order issued by the Dubai courts of first instance on the 27th of July 2020. Now, according to the court order, Bolter and his company, Porton Managers GLT, were ordered to pay back 56.5 million Namibian dollars, money they had invested in Bolter's companies, Managers GLT, Portion Group of Companies, Enigma Diego Limited, and Communication Security Group, IC. The group, through their Namibian representative Sedaki Bahadri, claim Bolter lied that his companies were successful and made huge profits. MarketWatch reports that the Namibia Investment Promotion and Development Board has coordinated the country's participation at the annual investment meeting 2023 taking place from the 8th of May to the 11th of May 2023 in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. IAM is an influential platform that brings together investors, policymakers, and industry leaders from around the world to foster economic growth and international cooperation. Namibia's involvement in this meeting underscores its commitment to attracting investment, diversifying its economy, and establishing itself as a prime destination for global investors seeking growth and diversity in emerging markets. South African Airways wants 4 planes. More on this story in Economic News after the break.
Discover the breathtaking beauty of Namibia with Tourismus, a captivating program that uncovers the country's diverse landscapes, wildlife, and cultural experiences. Featuring insightful interviews with tourism experts, each episode takes you on a mesmerizing journey, exploring Namibia's majestic sand dunes, vibrant wildlife, and unique attractions. Watch Tourismus on NTV, Saturdays at 20:30 in German, and Sundays at 6 p.m. in English, for a heartwarming and unforgettable adventure.
Let's get into our economic news. South African Airways is trying to rebuild its fleet of available planes, but on a timescale and with financial terms that suppliers say are so improbable that the exercise will likely be extremely expensive. The airline issued a request for bids for 4 Airbuses, a 320 to 200 passenger planes configured to carry 138 passengers, 24 of them in business class. Ideally, it wants to lease those planes for 3 years on a power-by-the-hour basis, which would mean the craft are fully serviced and maintained, and SAA pays only for the time they spend on the air, but it will also consider paying a monthly fee. What it will absolutely not do is involve the government in the deal. SAA will not consider proposals for leased aircraft if any security is required over and above security usually requested and provided in respect of aircraft leases, the state-owned company told potential bidders. In particular, SAA will not consider leases where any shareholders' support/guarantee is required. In fact, according to the score sheet for the deal, SAA has a strong preference to pay no deposit at all, taking control of the planes with nothing but a promise to pay later. It also wants the planes in a short time frame, the first next month, 2 more in July, and the last in August. Anything after September, its documentation suggests, will not cut it. Let's take a look at the economic indicators. $1 will cost $18 million and 41 cents, while 1 British pound translates to $23 million and 22 cents. The stock prices on the Namibian stock remain unchanged except for Namibia Breweries Limited and Trustco Group Holdings Limited. Overall index is up by 0.72%, while the local index went up by 0.01%. Gold is valued at $2,000, while Brent crude oil is valued at $76 and 50 cents per barrel. Protesters storm court as legal challenge opens against presidential election result. Stay with NMH at 1 for an update.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouthwatering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
Getting into our news from across the continent, a number of protesters stormed the appeal court in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, on Monday to express their concern about the outcome of the election result, but were restrained from gaining entrance to the court by security operatives. We are here calling on the judiciary to give Nigerians justice, says protest leader Orungu Onungu, as the country grapples with widespread insecurity, economic woes, and growing poverty. Many Nigerians had hoped the presidential ballot would bring about change, but many were disappointed by the way the election was conducted. Yesterday, a panel of 5 Nigerian judges sat for a pre-hearing session in the trial involving opposition leaders contesting the February election won by the ruling party. Since Nigeria returned to democracy in 1999 after 3 decades of military rule, elections have always ended up in court, though no challenge has ever overturned results. Petitions contesting the victory of Bola Tinubu were filed in March by several presidential candidates, including the main opposition leader Atiku Abubakar, who came second, and outsider Peter Obi, who was third. The court has 180 days from when the petitions were filed to issue a judgment, which can then be appealed at the Supreme Court. No major decision was expected on Monday. Abubakar, who was on his 6th bid for the presidency, claimed in his petition that he won the February 25th election. Both he and Obi claimed that the result declared by the Independent National Electoral Commission were invalid due to non-compliance with electoral laws and corrupt practices. We now get into our international news.
Welcome to Active Kids, a daily TV show that sparks creativity, learning, and fun for young minds. With exciting activities and lessons, Active Kids inspires curiosity and a love for learning.
New face to the 150.
The perfect mix of play and education. Don't miss out on the fun. Tune in to Active Kids on NTV every weekday at 10 o'clock and let the adventure begin.
Let's get into our international news. China on Tuesday expelled a Canadian diplomat in Shanghai in a tit-for-tat move after Ottawa told a Toronto-based Chinese diplomat to leave, escalating tense relations amid concerns about Chinese influence in Canada. Canada expelled Chinese diplomat Zhao Wei on Monday after an intelligence report accused him of trying to target a Canadian lawmaker critical of China's treatment of its Uyghur Muslim minority. We will not tolerate any form of foreign interference, Canadian Foreign Minister Melanie Joly said yesterday. In response to Canada's unreasonable actions, China told Jennifer Lane Lalonde, consul of the Canadian consulate in Shanghai, to leave China by May 13th. According to the Chinese Foreign Ministry in a statement, China reserves the right to respond further, the Foreign Ministry added. In response to the Canadian side's unreasonable provocation, China has adopted corresponding retaliatory measures, said Wang Wenbin, spokesperson at the Chinese Foreign Ministry, at a regular news conference. This was absolutely just and necessary. We urge Canada to immediately stop its unreasonable provocations. After the break, we get into your local sports news. Do stay with us.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion.
Let's take a look at our local sports news. The Namibian Secondary Schools Rugby Association's preliminary squads in preparation for the Under-16 and Under-18 provincial tournaments will have a training camp in Windhoek from Thursday until Saturday this week. On Saturday, a final trial match will be played in both of the age groups, after which the squads of 23 players each, as well as 9 non-traveling reserves, will be named. The Namibians Under-16 team will have John Dames of Windhoek High School as the head coach for its participation at the Under-16 Grand Como Week in Stellenbosch from the 26th to the 30th of June. Meanwhile, Herman Grobler of Walvis Bay Private School will be the head coach for the campaign at the Under-18 Academy Week to be hosted in Johannesburg from the 3rd to the 8th of July. A group of national women's football players yesterday assembled at the Namibia Football Association's office demanding payments owed to them from almost 3 years ago. The unpaid players claim to have repeatedly engaged with the Normalization Committee and the new NFA Secretary General, Joshan Trout, about their outstanding payments, but they have not received any satisfactory response. 9 Namibian Paralympic athletes and 5 guides are preparing in Italy this week for their participation at the Jeslo Grand Prix from Friday until Sunday. Their European tour, which will conclude with another Grand Prix event in Switzerland at the end of the month, is in preparation for the International Paralympic World Athletics Championship, which is scheduled for the 8th to the 17th of July in Paris, France. We'll now take a look at our international sports shortly. Getting into our international sports news, Argentina star Lionel Messi on Monday scooped a unique double, landing individual and team laurels awards for his exploits and those of his World Cup winning nation. Jamaican sprinter Shelley Ann Fraser-Pryce, who last August earned a 5th World 100-meter crown at Eugene, Oregon, picked up the Female Athlete Award, while the U.S. Open tennis champion Carlos Alcaraz earned the World Breakthrough of the Year award. England fast bowler Jofra Archer was ruled out of the ongoing Indian Premier League today, and a fresh injury blow ahead of Ashes. His franchise, the Mumbai Indians, said the 28-year-old will be replaced by England teammate Chris Jordan. In the English Premier League, Leicester's hopes of survival are hanging by a thread after a 5-3 defeat at Fulham on Monday night. Now Leicester boss Dean Smith admitted his players are struggling with the pressures of a relegation battle after a disastrous defensive display at Craven Cottage. After the break, we'll be getting into your highlights. Just stay with us. Here are the news highlights from today's broadcast. A number of protesters stormed the appeal court in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, on Monday to express their concern about the outcome of the election result, but were restrained from gaining entrance to the court by security operatives. China on Tuesday expelled a Canadian diplomat in Shanghai in a tit-for-tat move after Ottawa told a Toronto-based Chinese diplomat to leave, escalating tense relations amid concerns about Chinese influence in Canada. A group of national women's football players yesterday assembled at the Namibia Football Association's office demanding payments owed to them from almost 3 years ago. Those have been your highlights. Remember to tune in every weekday at 1 p.m. to spend your lunch hour with NMH at 1, catching up on the latest news in Namibia, Africa, and the world, ranging from current affairs, economic news, sports, and international headlines. From me, Glenn Rashipura, until next time.